difficult person who wants Canada to get on one knee, bend the knee, and bow to the King of the U.S.
Responding to an ever-escalating trade war, Trump ups the ante on tariffs.
Tonight, bracing for the financial fallout and the calls for countermeasures. Good evening. The August 1st trade deadline has passed, and Donald Trump followed through on his threat.
The United States boosting tariffs to 35% on some Canadian goods. The Prime Minister expressing disappointment and vowing to minimize the impact and protect Canadian jobs. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, the developments have riled local leaders and revived calls to retaliate.
Do you think the government should retaliate? Have you spoken to the premiers at all about these recent tariffs?
Federal ministers had little to say today when pressed on Canada's next steps.
Prime Minister's trying to get the best deal he can for Canadians.
That wasn't the case when it came to provincial premiers.
We need to control what we can control. First and foremost, that is controlling the opportunities that we have in advancing our Canadian economies.
Or border town mayors.
Well, I think everything should be on the table. And, two can play the game.
Retaliation wasn't mentioned in the Prime Minister's post-midnight response to the escalating trade war. In a statement, Mark Carney said the federal government is disappointed by the U.S. action and will act to protect Canadian jobs. He also took aim at Trump, justifying the tariffs on the basis of the cross-border flow of fentanyl, but said this country will continue to negotiate with the U.S. while working to make Canadians their own best customers. The Canadian business community slamming Trump's justifications.
We know it's false. They know it's false. This is the pretext that's being used to try to defend these tariffs in the courts.
While there's relief that exemptions under the North American Free Trade Agreement remain, stakeholders want the revenue from Canada's countermeasures to start flowing to those on the front lines of the trade war.
It's right now all bad, not at the end of the rope, but pretty close to it.
Trade experts say while the current situation is not ideal, no deal is better than a bad deal.
A good deal for Canada is not just a baseline tariff with a USMCA exemption. It really is getting to the heart of the problem for us, which is those sectoral tariffs, those industry-specific tariffs like steel, like autos.
Carney's lead minister on the file is coming back from D.C. tonight without meeting with any new Americans today. But Dominic LeBlanc's office assures us he is keeping in contact with his counterpart, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Also tonight, impact on industry, what the latest tariff blow means for Canadian exports, the complicated question of which products are hit hard and which ones can take cover under CUSMA. But first, it's an August-long weekend tradition in Toronto. The color, the music, and pageantry of the Caribbean Carnival back for another year. The
big parade takes over the lakeshore tomorrow, but the festivities are already underway. CTV's Jessica Smith joins us live from Sankofa Square at Yonge and Dundas with your guide to festival weekend. Jess.
Well, Natalie and Nathan, the Carnival spirit is alive and well here at Sankofa Square, and this is just one of the many events happening today that lead into the start of the Grand Parade tomorrow. One of the largest festivals and parades in North America is underway in Toronto this weekend.
This amazing Toronto Caribbean Carnival, the really epicenter of diversity and culture in Toronto. Come out, have some fun. Good food, good music.
The King and Queen Showcase brings together each mass band to show off their themes and costumes and helped kick things off yesterday with the winners announced today.
Queen of the band for 2025, Toronto Revelers, our King of Carnival 2025, band, Toronto Revelers.
A new addition to the free Carnival experience is the Carnival Village at Sankofa Square running Friday and Saturday.
You got good soca music, calypso music playing. We have our food vendors here. I'm seeing like mango, coconut, soursop, ice cream.
It looked really fun to see, and we just wanted to enjoy and watch it and be a part of it.
Everything that's happening here in the city, I'm always here.
I don't know, they say it's great, so I want to see it.
And tonight, the Ontario Steel Pan Association presents Toronto Panorama, keeping Pan alive at Lamport Stadium.
You know, steel pan music is at the heart of this festival, at the heart of our music, soca music. So it's a great opportunity to see world-class steel pan bands from right here in Canada.
The 58th annual Grand Parade is a highlight of the Toronto Caribbean Carnival weekend. It takes over the lakeshore around Exhibition Place on Saturday. The festival at its core is designed to bring people from every corner of the world together, highlighted by the 2025 festival theme, Take Me Home.
Take Me Home is about everybody not only feeling at home in the carnival, but also feeling like you are at home, your motherland, wherever that may be. This is an experience of that too.
With such a large gathering expected at the Grand Parade, safety is paramount. The Toronto Police Service will have an increased presence.
Our officers will be focused on crowd and traffic management, engaging with the community and ensuring public safety throughout the weekend.
The 58th annual Grand Parade happens tomorrow. You can catch the coverage all day long on CP24 from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Smith. I'll send things back inside to the studio.
Thank you, Jess. Today also marked the official kickoff of Emancipation Month in Toronto with a ceremony at City Hall. The Black Liberation flag was raised above Nathan Phillips Square. August 1st, 1834 marked the day that the Slavery Abolition Act came into effect across the British Empire, including Canada.
While this month highlights the rich heritage of Black communities and their ongoing contributions to our city's prosperity, it is equally important that this month raises awareness about the legacy of slavery, systemic racism, and the ongoing journey towards racial justice.
Community members also took part in an annual subway ride marking the start of Emancipation Month. The tradition honors the journey that many enslaved people took to Canada on the Underground Railroad.
Also tonight, August arrives with a full slate of food, festivals, and fun. We've got your to-do list for summer in the city this long weekend just ahead.
Time now for a check on the forecast. Here's a live shot of the city. Still looking pretty good out there. And the sunshine is going to continue throughout the long weekend, whether you're in town to perhaps enjoy the many events or heading up north. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, I think just about everyone will agree that this forecast is looking good. It is midsummer. It is a long weekend. What more could we ask for? 25 degrees. How about that in the city of Toronto under mainly sunny skies? Lovely, comfortable. We've got a bit of a northeast wind right now. We did have some fair weather clouds earlier on. Those have burned off. And tonight we are forecasting clear skies and an overnight low of 14 degrees. Now here is your Grand Parade forecast for tomorrow. Lots of sunshine in the forecast. Going to be slightly warmer than it was today. There's two things, though, that I want to mention about this forecast. One, it's looking pretty dry. And two, we could see the return of some wildfire smoke and haze. So we'll take you through a full look at the 7-day forecast. That's coming up. For now, Natalie, I'll send it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Lindsay. A teen girl has been sentenced to 16 months of probation for her part in the swarming death of Kenneth Lee in 2022. The girl was 14 when she and 7 other teens attacked the 59-year-old homeless man in a downtown parkette. Lee later died in hospital. The judge sentenced the teen this afternoon to 3 years, the maximum available for manslaughter in a youth case, minus 20 months of credit for the time she previously spent in custody. She will also spend up to a year in an intensive support and supervision program.
South Simcoe police have charged a man with first-degree murder after a person was found dead in a Brantford home last night. Police say they were called to a home around 7:30 p.m. for a wellness check. They say they entered the home and found the person deceased. They arrested 25-year-old Joshua Wilson of Bradford. He made a virtual court appearance this morning on a charge of first-degree murder. Investigators released his name and say an autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow.
We turn now to a violent altercation downtown. A man stabbed and critically injured.
Witnesses say he was trying to stop a robbery at the time. CTV's Allison Hirsch joins us live from Queen and Peter with the story. Allison.
Nathan, police say it doesn't appear that the victim or the suspect knew each other, but they say there was some sort of an altercation before it happened. Officers follow a trail of evidence markers trying to uncover what led to a stabbing downtown near Peter Street and Queen.
And one guy was getting robbed, and me and my girlfriend and the other gentleman that got stabbed, we went after the guy, and the guy just all of a sudden turned around and just stabbed him.
Chris Bagolo says it was his friend that stepped in who was stabbed.
He was screaming in agony and pain. There was a lot of blood. I couldn't tell you I was just trying to calm him down to get the excitement down so he wasn't losing too much blood, but it didn't look too good.
The victim, a man in his 40s, was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. The latest update from police is he's stable but in critical condition.
Just hope it pulls through.
It happened at about 3:45 this morning. Police say a 38-year-old man was arrested nearby and is facing numerous weapons charges.
The victim and suspect do not appear to be known to each other. A verbal altercation occurred prior to the stabbing.
Police say both the victim and suspect do not have a fixed address.
The cops came in, they asked if I saw or heard anything, and then they asked me if there's some cameras, they got access to it.
Chitvan was working overnight and says at least his store door is locked.
On weekdays, it's dead silent, so you have to be a little careful about your surroundings and where you're traveling.
Bagolo is holding his friend's belongings.
He played guitar and basically, he just trying to survive on the street.
And hoping he survives this too.
A city spokesperson tells us that they are reviewing the incident, but that it doesn't appear that anyone involved was staying in the shelter system. And they add that the shelter has since reopened after being temporarily suspended early this morning. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Natalie, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Allison. There were no serious injuries, but quite a lot of damage after a stolen SUV crashed into a pair of traffic poles on the lakeshore overnight. The driver hit a pole at Remembrance Drive before slamming into another one at Stadium Road just before 2:30 a.m. Police say a 27-year-old woman driving the car was arrested, and they are still looking for the passenger.
And a motorcyclist was badly hurt in a crash in Vaughan. York Regional Police say the motorcycle and car collided on Weston Road at Hawstone shortly before 9. Police say the rider was taken to hospital with a serious leg injury, but is expected to survive. The people in the other vehicle were not hurt. There's no word yet on what led to the crash or if any charges will be laid.
And take a look at this. This was a fiery scene on the 401 last night near Renforth. A vehicle fully engulfed in the westbound collector lanes. Fire crews arrived and quickly put out the blaze. No injuries were reported and the driver was able to get out of the vehicle.
Authorities are investigating a fatal plane crash near the Ottawa airport last night.
The pilot died, but thanks to rescue efforts by first responders, the two passengers were brought to safety. CTV's Dylan Dyson has the details.
A pilot is dead and two passengers were taken to hospital after a small plane crashed across the road from the Ottawa airport Thursday evening.
At some point in the flight, the pilot had engine problems. The engine sputtered and failed. The right engine cowling of the aircraft came open, and there was a substantial loss of engine oil that was sprayed over the windscreen.
The Transportation Safety Board says the Grumman AA-5A aircraft took off on a recreational flight from the Gatineau Airport just after 5:30. The pilot declared an emergency with air traffic control at the Ottawa Airport before crash landing 20 minutes after takeoff.
Unfortunately, the aircraft lost altitude and collided with terrain in behind me at a distance of approximately 970 meters or 3,100 feet from the threshold of runway 14.
Residents living on the private road off Riverside Drive where the plane went down are used to aircraft flying overhead, but have never seen something like this.
It was behind me when it happened, and as I turned around, I saw something come across the road and into the hydrolites, but I did not know it was a plane until I got closer.
That's something that we often think about because we're so close to the airport. We see planes flying every day over our heads. So we see planes, so we always think of that. Someday something could happen, and so it did happen.
The TSB says the plane became entangled in live hydro wires, complicating the already dangerous rescue efforts.
Firefighters had to deal with a very complex situation to do the extrication. The plane was stable in the tree, but we performed the extrication from one of our aerial ladders.
Fire crews also worked to contain fuel spilling into the residential area.
All the windows were busted out, and I saw fuel dropping from the tail, and then I started seeing sparks all along the telephone poles.
It's not a pretty scene down there. It is unfortunate. Fortunately, there were no children on the street.
On Friday, crews removing the plane from the trees where it had been sitting 25 feet in the air since impact.
At this point in time, that's all we know. The investigation is we're in day one of this investigation.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
Returning now to our coverage of trade tensions with the United States. As we've mentioned, most Canadian exports are still technically exempted from tariffs.
But as CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin reports, many businesses are still navigating confusion around how those rules apply.
Touted as an escape hatch from some of the tariffs, CUSMA may shield some businesses, but how much? The deal signed in 2018 by Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. exempts a wide range of products from tariffs. Take grown and raised in Canada food products. They're covered by that free trade agreement.
If you look at some of the products that we export, those are unprocessed products, live animals, live hogs, live cattle, wheat, canola, those sorts of things. Those are pretty clearly and obviously Canadian.
And a big percentage, 86% of Canada's exports, have the potential to qualify for that exemption. That's on paper, though. In practice, only nearly 40% of trade happened under CUSMA last year. Many exporters, particularly smaller businesses, have not filed the compliance paperwork.
And what I've been seeing is that more and more businesses are rushing to become CUSMA compliant. Something that I have been criticizing for a long time, that in Canada we have that complacency, or shown this complacency, we have had this free trade for a long time.
And for sectors not covered under CUSMA, the trickle-down costs will also add up for consumers. Take the 50% slapped on aluminum.
Any canned drinks will increase per can between 3 and 5 cents, right? This is the net effect of cost on the producer of the canned drink. But by the time it's handed down to the tariff, it's 10, 15, 20 cents to the consumer,
Other sectors like steel, lumber, and automobiles have also taken a big hit, and the cost of things like appliances are likely to keep going up. Genevieve Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
And also this week, the White House is putting pressure on several pharmaceutical giants to slash prescription drug prices south of the border. U.S. President Donald Trump sent letters to the leaders of 17 companies outlining a list of demands aimed at getting drug costs to match those abroad. U.S. patients often pay nearly 3 times more than those in other developed nations. Trump sets a September 29th deadline for binding commitments from those companies, but analysts and drug pricing experts say it's unlikely they'll comply.
Ontario's largest alcohol tax cut in decades officially took effect today. The changes were announced in the 2025 provincial budget. The cuts include a nearly 50% cut to LCBO markups on cider and reduced markups for wine and spirit-based ready-to-drink beverages with alcohol content of less than 7.1%. There are also changes to the rates for microbreweries and distilleries with on-site retail. The Ford government says the move is a response to U.S. trade policies and is also part of an effort to modernize the province's alcohol marketplace.
Voting wrapped up today for unionized workers at Canada Post, weighing in on the Crown Corporation's latest contract offer. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers urged its roughly 55,000 members to reject the proposal. It includes wage hikes of about 13% over 4 years. It also adds part-time workers that Canada Post says are necessary to keep the service afloat. The Crown Corporation said the deal is on the table and it's final. The vote took place after the federal government intervened in the ongoing labor dispute. The results have yet to be released.
Cecil Dion, one of 2 surviving members of the world-famous Dion quintuplets, has passed away at the age of 91. The 5 girls were born near North Bay in May of 1934, and they were the only quintuplets at the time to survive more than a few days. They quickly became a global sensation, but the 5 sisters grew up unhappily in the public eye, saying later that their lives had been ruined by the exploitation they suffered. In 1998, the province apologized to the 3 surviving Dion sisters and awarded compensation for being exploited as children. Cecil Dion is survived only by her sister, Annette.
We are flying into the long weekend tonight, and there is no shortage of things to do.
We mentioned the Caribbean Carnival earlier, but that is not the only event happening in the city this weekend. The Veld Music Festival is back at Downsview Park. It is Canada's biggest electronic music festival. It kicked off today and runs until Sunday.
And if you're craving some delicious food, you can head to the Toronto Food Truck Festival at Woodbine Park. It kicked off at 5 today and is open every day of the long weekend at noon. There are more than 20 food trucks on site, including vegetarian, halal, and gluten-free options.
Well, this definitely isn't vegetarian. The Scarborough Rib Fest is back for its 24th year. In addition to the mouth-watering ribs, there is also plenty of entertainment to enjoy. It takes place all weekend at Thompson Memorial Park.
And the mass exodus has begun for people looking for an out-of-the-city adventure this long weekend. Whatever you do, police are reminding people to be safe while you do it.
The OPP are going to be out this weekend as well, making sure drivers are making good decisions. That means obeying the speed limit, putting down that phone, not drinking and driving, and always wearing that safety equipment, which means that seatbelt, helmet, or life jacket if you're out of the water.
And a reminder, with the long weekend comes closures and schedule changes, especially on holiday Monday. For a look at what's open and what will be closed, head to our website.
Also tonight, if you're searching out lake life this long weekend, we have the water safety tips you'll want to keep in mind. The expert advice just ahead.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, robots and artificial intelligence are both supposed to make our lives easier. Now there are more AI and robotic devices being made for your home. How do they work, and are they worth the extra money? Researchers find out. That story is just ahead.
Goodbye, July. We know it was a very hot month. Interestingly, in the end, we had more rainfall than average. We actually picked up 4 millimeters of rain yesterday morning. Hello, August. Here's a look at your new month and new norms. A temperature maybe a degree cooler than July on average. It was a lovely start today. Tomorrow, I anticipate we're going to see a little more in the way of wildfire smoke returning, expected to be at a 5 on the Air Quality Health Index. We're going to take a detailed look at your 7-day forecast. It's looking pretty dry. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
More appliances are using robotic technology and artificial intelligence, and now some of those items could end up in your home.
Everything from robotic lawnmowers to refrigerators using AI. But is this new technology worth the added cost? Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Natalie. Products powered by robots and AI are certainly trendy, and if you have them, you may be on the cutting edge. But testing shows some of these items don't work as well as their traditional counterparts, even though they cost a whole lot more. From vacuuming your floors to cleaning your grill, today's smart appliances promise convenience at the touch of a button. But are they delivering? Consumer Reports has the latest in home and garden tech.
While these products are helpful, they tend to be pricier than their traditional counterparts, and they often have complicated setup processes and require extra tinkering to keep them working.
Take Samsung's new $5,000 bespoke refrigerator, which comes with an AI vision camera that's supposed to recognize the groceries you add to your fridge. When researchers tested the feature, it worked about half the time and struggled with packaged foods like milk and soft drinks. Evaluations of robotic lawnmowers found you'll need to pre-mow your grass to a specific height before you can set these robots loose on your lawn. And all that convenience will cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars. But it's not all bad news. Some smart products like robotic vacuums have come a long way. They're now better at dodging obstacles, navigating tight spaces, and picking up dirt along edges and in corners. And while not exactly a robot, researchers say a smart thermostat is a great investment.
These will cut down on your heating and cooling bills using AI to automatically adjust the temperature, especially when you're not home. They also connect to demand response programs from your local utility company, which can give you discounts on your bill.
So while robots are making improvements, they won't be taking over your home just yet. And one thing to be aware of with many of these new high-tech products is their security and privacy settings. Many items that use AI share information, so you may want to turn off data sharing to keep yours private. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, here's a look here behind us at the Taste of India Festival down at Nathan Phillips Square, and you could not ask for a more beautiful, sunny summer weekend for that and so many other festivals happening in this city.
Yeah, so fantastic. I mean, with this one, you've got the food, the fashion, the celebration of Indian culture. Obviously, you've got the Caribbean Carnival. You've got the food truck festival. There's just one of many, three of many things happening this weekend.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to get outside, enjoy. We know that summer is short, and we don't often get a long weekend forecast that looks like such a sure thing like this one. We anticipate it's going to be dry throughout. Lots of sunshine, too. I do suspect we will get a little more in the way of wildfire smoke, haze returning, but temperatures also comfortable, not nearly as humid as they've been. Here's what it looked like earlier today. If you were out for a stroll, maybe on Queen Street West, like these folks were, you might have found it not too hot, not too cool. Goldilocks weather is what I like to call that. We made it to a high of 25 degrees today with a mix of sun and cloud. At one point, there was a little more cloud than sun, but that has now burned off. Here's what we're watching for as we make our way into the weekend. That wildfire smoke from northern Ontario, western Canada, expected to once again impact us here in the lower Great Lakes region. This is all happening along the flow of the jet stream, as well as some northerly winds. So expect a haze in addition to the sunshine out there tomorrow and perhaps the day after that as well. We are expected to be at a 5 on the Air Quality Health Index here in Toronto tomorrow. So that's moderate risk. That's the only reason why I would encourage you to maybe take it easy tomorrow in case you maybe find that you are susceptible to poor air quality out there. Satellite and radar, not much to show you here. High pressure is in place and will be for the next couple of days here. Might see a quick passing shower the closer you get to the border of Quebec as we make our way through tomorrow. Eastern sections of cottage country, for example. But here in the GTA, it looks dry for your Saturday. Sunday, just going to pause it there to show you the potential for maybe a pop-up shower. I think most areas are going to remain dry. That's likely to change. Please don't change any of your Sunday evening plans. And then Monday, mix of sun and cloud once again. And as the long weekend progresses, we get a little bit warmer each day, but not overly humid. 24 degrees is where we stand right now. There's your 8 p.m. temperature, 22 degrees. Sunshine through the evening. Enjoy that. The sun is going to set tonight at about 20 minutes to 9. Overnight, we drop to a low near 14 degrees. That's a little cool here in Toronto. And once again, Waterloo, Peterborough, Bancroft, single-digit territory through the overnight hours tonight. So you may find it's a little chilly first thing in the morning if you're spending the weekend in those communities. Tomorrow at a glance, 27 degrees is going to feel like 30. Many off to cottage country to enjoy time by the water or at a campground. Again, it's looking like a great long weekend forecast, but I do suspect many of those areas, especially north of the GTA and east, will see quite a bit of haze tomorrow, and you might notice the wildfire smoke. You might be able to see it or smell it. 7-day forecast, notice how temperatures are pretty consistent as we make our way through next week. We're going to be near 30 degrees, feeling just a little bit warmer than that, but not feeling like 40 again. And there is no measurable rain at this point in the forecast for the first week of August, and we could use some. That's the weather for now. Natalie, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Still ahead on CTV News, time travel on a Toronto stage. Our Andrea Case goes back to the future at 88 miles per hour. That's coming up.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
As we head into the long weekend, you can expect to see more patrols on lakes and rivers.
Officers will be cracking down on impaired boating, speeding, and missing safety gear. CTV's Luc Sima reports from Barrie with more on what boaters need to know before heading out.
He's wearing his auto inflator. He's good to go.
Emergency crews will be doing their part this long weekend on the water throughout our region. It's often local fire departments that are the first to respond to emergency calls.
We want people to enjoy themselves, but we need to be safe around the water, wear life jackets where possible, for parents to stay close to their children, an arm's length. Anything more than that is dangerous.
The provincial police are on the water patrolling and enforcing the rules, making sure everyone is operating on the water safely.
We always recommend that you wear your life jacket and it be of the appropriate size and fitment for the person. I have a youth life jacket, child life jacket here that has the tether, and this is important so that the child doesn't slide through the armholes.
According to the OPP, there have been 9 reported water deaths throughout the central region, and police are advising boaters to take extra precaution this long weekend.
Wear the life jacket. We can't stress that enough. In my Marine career, there's been many people saved because they wore their life jacket, chose to wear it, and therefore the outcome, yes, they were cold, but they were rescued and saved.
Speeding in Georgian Bay has also been a problem this summer. OPP have been in channels near Picnic Island cracking down on speed.
It has to be 9 kilometers. It is posted. They have buoys that are posted, as well as signs at Big Dog, Delawana, Picnic Island, and Church Bay. So this whole bay here is 9 kilometers.
With the limits in place for a reason, and a familiar message, zero tolerance for drinking on the water.
Impaired is impaired. And the definition of a vessel on the waterways, all vessels, including a stand-up paddleboard, a kayak, a canoe, pedal boat, any of the above. It doesn't have to be motorized. You can be charged with impaired operation aboard a vessel.
Police are reminding all that they will be out on the waters and along the shores this long weekend, promoting safe boating, smart swimming, and cracking down on impaired boaters. Luke Simard, CTV News, Midland.
Health Canada has issued a recall of a children's play kitchen after it was linked to a death south of the border. The item in question is called the KidCraft Farm-to-Table Model Play Kitchen. The company says it received a report of a toddler getting stuck on one of the metal hooks on the product and dying of strangulation. No other incidents have been reported, but several thousand units were sold in this country. Health Canada warns to immediately stop using the recalled units and contact the company for replacement parts.
Pop star Chapel Roan is out with a new song that includes mention of a Canadian province.
I'm moving to Saskatchewan, it's just another day.
The song is called The Subway, and the video features the New York City transit system. Roan first performed the single at a music festival a year ago. At the time, fans noticed the mention of Saskatchewan, according to the lyrics. That is where the singer joked she plans to move if she can't get over her ex.
The Sex and the City franchise is coming to an end after more than 25 years.
There's nothing like summer in New York City.
That announcement came as the team behind the spin-off series And Just Like That confirms its current third season will be its last. Showrunner Michael Patrick King says the decision was made along with star and executive producer Sarah Jessica Parker. The series will conclude over the next 2 Thursdays with a 2-part finale.
Fans of Spider-Man are getting a sneak peek at a major new element of the franchise's next era. Sony Pictures shared a very short video of the new Spidey suit that Tom Holland will be wearing in the next Spider-Man film with the caption, "Something new is coming." Fans will have seen a brief look at a similar suit at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, but they'll have to wait a year for the next movie. Spider-Man Brand New Day is out July 31st, 2026.
Famous around the world, please welcome the Fantastic Four.
And speaking of superhero movies, it's expected to be another big weekend for Fantastic Four First Steps. But a few new films will be debuting and aiming to give the movie a run for its money. But Deadline reports it's projected to still bring in $45 to $52 million U.S. across North America, roughly 55 to 60% down from its debut weekend.
Going back in time, Toronto audiences are taking a ride back to the future.
The musical version of the hit movie has pulled into the Ed Mervish Theatre, and CTV's Andrea Case got behind the wheel of a special vehicle.
Great Scott! Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Son of a DeLorean?
The film Back to the Future debuted in 1985.
My dad showed me the movie when I was a kid. He was a huge fan.
I showed it to my children. I saw it in 1985 many times. Love the movie so much.
1955? 35 years later, the curtain first rose on the musical stage show in Manchester, England, before moving to Broadway.
I found out that someone was leaving the show, and so I called the director who I worked with before and was like, hey, I was wondering if I can get in.
Oh, do like the Queen entrance?
Yes.
I've had many cars in my life. Long story, but this DeLorean is a one-of-a-kind. Only 6,681 of the luxury winged cars were ever sold. This is a replica, and even the actors admit the car is the star of the show. Lucas Hallower and David Josephsberg play Marty McFly and Doc Brown. Opening last week, the actors have settled into their run at the Ed Mirvish Theatre.
It's so nice to be here for 6 weeks and to be able to explore the city and see what Toronto's like, and so far it's been beautiful.
Still, if Hallower looks like Michael J. Fox, the actor who created the role, it's no coincidence. He says it's a dream role.
It's absolutely daunting at times because, you know, it is so iconic, but I am thrilled to be able to do it and hear people's reactions to it. It's nice to know that he's so beloved by so many people.
Make sure we're careful. Let me sneak by you.
Okay.
Watch now. Make sure he's okay there.
Yes.
Okay, and then we put it right in here. And then the car gets started when you start driving too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Life on the road can be difficult, moving from city to city, sometimes week after week. But this stint in Toronto comes with an additional benefit.
Things are great. You know, So in New York, when you work, you go to the show and then you take the subway and then you take care of the kids and you take care of the dogs. And here you sort of just get to do self-care all day long if you want. You can go to the gym, you could do breath work, which I do all the time. You could meditate. And so I'm feeling good. I even taught breath work to the cast once.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to keep
He's doing
that.
classes for us.
Yeah.
It's very nice, very kind of him.
We got to keep healthy. We got to keep our bodies, our brains, all of it.
This is wild. Back to the Future is on stage until August 31st. Andrea Case, CTV News.
Still ahead tonight, Uber updates its emergency protocol policies after a driver pulled away with a 5-year-old girl asleep in the back seat. The changes parents need to know coming up.
Let's hope the Prime Minister and the teams can come to an agreement with the United States in short order, but clearly the President is a difficult party to deal with.
Updating our top stories, a new stage of trade tensions with the United States as President Donald Trump makes good on his threat of higher tariffs. Some Canadian goods are now subject to a 35% import tax heading into the U.S., even as many remain exempt. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's focused on getting a good deal and protecting Canadian jobs.
The victim and suspect do not appear to be known to each other. A verbal altercation occurred prior to the stabbing.
A man in his 40s is in critical condition after a stabbing early this morning downtown. It happened near Peter Street and Queen. Witnesses say the victim was trying to intervene in a robbery that was taking place. A 38-year-old man was arrested nearby and now faces several weapons charges.
The really epicenter of diversity and culture in Toronto. Come out, have some fun, good food, good music.
And as the August long weekend kicks off, one of the largest festivals and parades in North America is returning to the city. The 58th annual Grand Parade takes over Lakeshore around Exhibition Place tomorrow, although festivities are already well underway, including the Carnival Village at Sankofa Square.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photo, or video of breaking news, let us know.
The North American markets dropped today as investors reacted to the news tariffs were coming out of Washington. But there was good news from earnings reports. B&M Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
A few big Canadian companies have reported earnings results today, including Enbridge. Enbridge operates pipelines. It pulled in about $2.2 billion in its latest quarter, more than $30 million more than it made in the same quarter last year. The company CEO says he's optimistic about Ottawa wanting to advance energy projects. Auto parts supplier Magna beat expectations in its latest quarter, despite a 3% drop in sales. Tariffs have been a problem for Magna, raising costs, but the company says restructuring and spending less on capital has helped to offset that. On Thursday, Washington announced those new tariff rates, but it also sent out letters to pharmaceutical companies. The Trump administration is demanding they lower drug costs in the U.S. and increase costs in other countries. The White House says other nations have been freeloading off the U.S. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is up today to $72.50. West Texas Intermediate dropped almost $2 to $67.33. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it down to $56.25, and the TSX dropped 239 points today, ending the day just above 27,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
In addition to tariffs, another major factor weighing on U.S. markets today was a dismal jobs report. Officials say about 73,000 jobs were added last month, and that's far lower than economists had expected. Also, the U.S. Labor Department drastically downgraded its previous figures on the numbers of jobs added in May and June. They dropped by a combined figure of 258,000, reinforcing worries about a weakening U.S. economy.
More than $1.7 million is being invested in Ontario's beekeepers to help protect and grow honeybee colonies. The funding supports more than 200 local businesses through the Honeybee Health Initiative, helping fight disease, pests, and weather threats while boosting competitiveness. It's part of a federal-provincial partnership to strengthen agriculture and safeguard the pollinators that keep Ontario's food system thriving.
Uber has updated some safety protocols after an incident this past winter. A driver departed while a child was asleep in the back seat. This happened here in Toronto back in March when the mother of the 5-year-old was getting two of her other children out of the vehicle. Police were not immediately able to get in contact with the driver, with the company citing privacy reasons. Uber says it has since engaged with police and updated its protocols to better address future incidents.
In sports, the Argonauts will go for a second straight win tonight on the road in a rematch against the Blue Bombers.
And now looks to throw over the top, in the air, on the money. DeMonte Coxey, touchdown Argos.
Toronto beat Winnipeg 31-17 at BMO Field last Saturday. The Argos are in fourth in the East at 2-5, while the Bombers sit third in the West with a 3-3 record. Kickoff tonight is at 8:30 p.m. on TSN.
And the Blue Jays open a 3-game set against the Kansas City Royals at home tonight. It comes after the team beefed up their bullpen on MLB trade deadline day, acquiring starting pitcher Shane Bieber from the Cleveland Guardians in exchange for pitching prospect Cal Steven. Bieber has a 1.59 ERA in 4 rehab starts as he works his way back from Tommy John surgery last April. Bieber won the American League Cy Young in 2020. The Jays also added 2 other relievers from Minnesota.
Still to come tonight, the Happy Gilmore simulator shot that caught the eye of an Ontario inventor. The golf gear with the Canadian connection, just ahead.
Tonight, the consequences sweeping Canada from stiffer tariffs.
It can escalate very, very quickly to the detriment of everyone.
Which businesses are bracing for a big impact and what could cost you more now going forward? Later on CTV National News.
Finally tonight, an Ontario golf tee business had an unexpected cameo in one of the hottest films streaming online.
CTV's Dylan Dyson has more about the tee, the creator behind it, and how it's propped up one of the most famous swings in golf.
The most iconic swing in golf requires a special tee.
We played the scene back and forth like 10 times. It's super quick. It's only like a 1/10 of a second, but you can actually see them. And so that was, I didn't expect that.
It was this past weekend when Mario Kaya sat down to watch the new Happy Gilmore 2 movie, when he saw the golf tee he had been crafting for more than 15 years.
We started watching the movie Happy Gilmore 2, and my wife said, wouldn't it be really cool if they could use your tee in the movie? Then she got up to get a drink in the kitchen, and just when that happened, I saw a scene where they actually used my tee in the golf simulator.
Inspired by a badminton birdie, Kaya created his Burr tees for golfers to tee their ball up at a consistent height. They are now one of the most popular tees used at golf simulators around the world.
The simulator they use in the movie is Full Swing. And Full Swing is one of my biggest customers. They're a big simulator company out of San Diego. So they buy like 4 boxes of 250 packs basically every time that they order.
The tees are 100% local, made at LD Tool and Die in Stittsville, with labels from Smiths Falls and packaged in Kaya's Perth basement.
Marion and I happened to be in our own houses watching the same movie at the same time, and I saw it and I sent him a text that, oh look, you're on the screen.
Kaya also believes that his tee could help improve Happy Gilmore's game.
What people find is the constant height, again, is what they like. So especially with his kind of swing, because there's a lot of moving parts when he does that. So knowing that the ball is always at the height that he likes, then hopefully it would help.
From the simulator to the big screen, Kaya is now hoping his tees will make it to the course.
Maybe now with the exposure, a little bit of exposure with Happy Gilmore, who knows, maybe a golfer one of these days will use him on the course and not just in the simulator to practice with.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News, Perth.
Great story. I love that swing and a great weekend for golf.
Absolutely. If you're heading out to the links or maybe even up north to the cottage, it's looking good.
It's looking good no matter where you plan to spend your long weekend, at least in southern Ontario, maybe central parts of the province too. Let's take one more look at your Saturday. Mainly sunny skies, 27 degrees, humidex 30. Just anticipate a little haze, an increase compared to today for sure. Here's your long weekend forecast. Happy Toronto Caribbean Carnival, everyone. Get outside and enjoy. 7-day forecast looks like this. It's a dry one. We are going to be seasonably warm right through next week, in fact, with a mix of sun and cloud expected most days. Nathan and Natalie, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Pauline Chan with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a good night.